welcome to the inaugural Australian Muscle Podcast. This is where we will endeavour to interview people that are either influential or have made an impact in the fitness industry, in either in South Australia or even nationally. Once again, this podcast is brought to you by Australian Muscle the gym. Check out us on australianmuscle.com.au and on all social media platforms. My name's Kim Tansker and I'm here with Adrian. G'day, Adrian.
Hey Kim, how you doing?
G'day.
Good.
So this is going to be interesting. Who's our special guest for our inaugural podcast?
Well, Kimo, the very first person we thought we got to find someone who's synonymous with bodybuilding within South Australia, who has their hand in a little bit of everything with the fitness industry and supplement industry around South Australia. And without further ado, Kim Tansker.
Oh wow, this is really an honour.
Yes, thank you. This
being our first podcast, we thought we'd just run an interview with me. So we'll call it the Kim Tansker story.
Yeah, well, like the get to know you.
Look,
the man behind the brand.
I've got a story, whether people are interested in hearing it or not. But let's go. So bear in mind, all listeners, that this is the first time we've done this, so we're going to most probably have a bit of jitters until we get used to things and everything.
But essentially, podcasting is people having a chat and discussing everything.
That's what we want to do. We want to make this podcast that is basically just a chat with somebody, get their insight into their story and their background. So now, you apparently have got some questions for me, which I really don't know much about what you're going to ask me at all. So
we wrote them down a few months ago when we're looking at it. So, Kimo, you've been in the fitness industry for a long time in South Australia. So, how long have you been in there, and what made you get started in the industry?
Oh wow! All right. Well, I've loved the bodybuilding scene ever since I was a kid. So I followed bodybuilding. Muscular physiques always fascinated me ever since I was a little kid. Now this might sound like it's pretty well the same. Everyone who's in this industry has heard that they've liked that muscular physique. Now if we go right back to when I was a child, I was brought up in a pretty religious household. Mum and Dad raised us, well, not strictly, but we had a good religious background. And that being that, back in those days, and we're talking like the 70s and the 80s, when I was a teenager, bodybuilding really was an underground sport.
Yeah, it wouldn't have started coming out until...
No, it really wasn't. It's not like today. Like back in those days, if you trained, you were weird.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if you don't train...
You're the weirdo.
You're weirdo because you're not training. Yeah. So, I used to go to the newsagents, and while Mum was shopping, I'd have a look at bodybuilding magazines on the rack. And if Mum would catch me, she'd give me a clip across the ear and tell me not to look at these homosexual magazines. I've actually got a really good story on that. I used to actually put together my money, pocket money that I got, and I'd go to the newsagent and I'd buy bodybuilding magazines. Back then, there wasn't many. There was Iron Man. Used to be able to get
still out today.
Yeah, but it was different back in those days. It was a really small publication. It was all black and white pictures and everything. Perry Radar, I think, ran it. There was also Muscle and Fitness, Muscle Mag International.
Yeah.
Bob Kennedy's Muscle Mag International. So these were pretty well the magazines that were around. And I used to buy these magazines, and then I'd read them at night time when Mum and Dad, everyone was asleep.
With a little flashlight on.
Pretty well. And then I'd put them under my bed in a box and hide them under there, just like you would, say, porno magazines.
Yeah.
And one day I came home from school and couldn't find Mum. I go, "Where are you, Mum? I'm home from school." And I went to put my study in my room, and there was Mum. She was on the end of my bed, crying with these magazines strewn around her. And I go, "What's the matter?" And like she goes, "Kim, are you gay?" and that's the stigma that I had to put up with at home. Like my mum was she was convinced that if you looked at these magazines, well, it was because you were gay, and I had to hide them under a bed like porno magazines.
Well, I guess if you put going that distance to hide them as well, it's going to sort of maybe put a little bit of stigma onto that as well.
Well, he did, but I was only hiding them to avoid something like that, and it happened.
The big question is, why did your mum go through his stuff? You know, that she's obviously looking for something.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
So, so I had that love for training, and I couldn't start training really until I moved from home.
Yeah.
And which would have been in my early 20s. And I started training. Like I said, back in those days, we're talking 85, 86, I think, around about when I started training, 1985. There was no internet. There was only magazines. There wasn't even many gyms.
No.
Speaking
of gyms, your first gym membership, what was that? Like, you obviously own a gym, so how, like, this is that from my own curiosity, how much have they changed in the way of, like, running a gym from back in the early 80s to now? Like,
well, that's the gyms back in those days. I trained at Fun Life Fitness Centre at Ingle Farm, which is just up the road from our gym. It's still in operation, still got the same name and everything. And back in those days, there was actually ladies and men's days.
Yeah, so that's when it was sort of segregated, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it was like, I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, I think, were men's. And Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday were ladies' days, something like that. Which, when you really look at it nowadays, think about it, it's how archaic is that, and how throwback into the dark ages.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, so you went into the gym and it was just full of dudes, you know. And I can remember when all of a sudden the gyms turned mixed. And it was like all the guys in the gym are like, oh my God, check out, there's a chick in here, you know.
What do we do?
Check out the lady.
Do we stare at her from a distance awkwardly?
Yeah.
Go with number 2. We'll get that one.
That's right. So, obviously, I started training. I got mentored up by a couple of people in there. Peter Layton was one guy. He's still around, Peter. I still see him every now and then. And a few other guys in the gym who sort of took me under their wing and taught me how to train.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea how to train except from pictures you see in the magazines, and the magazines used to always have an interview with a pro and their workout, so you just follow those basically.
Yeah.
You know, again, bear in mind, no internet back then, nothing. You know, so all the information just came from the guys at the gym. You know?
And what they knew. So
what they knew, yeah. And so I trained for a couple of years, and back in 1987, I did my first contest.
Okay, what comp was that?
That was the NABA, or it was under NABA, but the federation here in South Australia was SABA, so South Australian Bodybuilding Association, which was affiliated with NABA, and that was the Adelaide Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was in May. Same beginning of the year, April, May.
Yeah. What did you have a class? Did you have a height? Did you have a weight? Or
well, bodybuilding shows obviously back then were totally different as well.
Yeah.
There was no bikini, there was no figure, there was no men's fitness, there was just bodybuilding.
Yeah.
There was female bodybuilding. It wasn't even called figure. I think it was just female bodybuilding and men's bodybuilding, and that's it. The classes were very basic. You had novice, which basically covered first time. Mm-hmm. You had novice. You did have teenage and juniors, and then open and masters. That was it. And the same equivalent in the women's bodybuilding.
Yeah. Were they ran the same way as they do today?
Yeah, look, except there used to be a pre-judging in the morning.
Yep. And
then you'd have a break of a few hours, and there'd be a night show starting around 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
I like that format. I like the pre-judging formats and then followed by the night show. I do like that. I like that.
Yeah, look, it's old school. In the end, when the pre-judging, there was nobody at the pre-judging.
Yeah.
And maybe your girlfriend or your mum, you know.
But not your mum.
No, not my mum. I actually, going back to that, I actually didn't tell anyone I was competing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Yeah, only a few of my closest friends and maybe my brothers knew, but not my parents.
Fair enough.
So, this show, I rocked up. There was no real. I can't even remember. I think you even entered on the day back then. I think you entered on the day and you filled in a form and you said what division you're going into. I can remember sitting down in the auditorium. It was the Don Polsky Centre, and there was quite a few guys, you know, and they were calling out like men's teenage, and 2 or 3 guys got up. Men's junior, 2 or 3 guys got up. Then they called out men's novice, and 19 of us stood up.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, great.
Yeah,
My first ever show, and there's 19 guys in my division.
Yeah.
So we ended up competing. The prejudging for our division obviously took a fair while. I can remember we had a number of call-outs, and I was always in the second or third call-out, which I sort of thought, well, I'm not going to be last. I knew I wasn't going to win because I could see some of these other dudes,
Yeah.
And in the end, I came 8th.
8th.
8th out of 19.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with that.
Well, speaking of that is, I'm dieting. I'm prepping for a show at the moment, kind of 9 weeks out. And were you prepping back then for?
Yeah.
How was that with home? Like, didn't your parents sort of notice something? Like, I know I don't want to eat that.
Yeah,
I can't eat this.
It was funny. Like, that show was, I did my own prep.
Yeah.
I got a couple of little help from guys at the gym who'd competed before, who basically said just cut out fried food and cut your calories down, right down.
So even back then they'll go on calories.
Yeah. It was just about calories. This guy just said, if you eat 2 pieces of chicken, only eat 1. It was that simple and rudimentary. But I was most probably in the best condition in that first show than I've ever been after that. And I had coaches and everything after that.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was doing. I was a carpenter, full-time carpenter, working on the trades. We worked in the country a lot, so I was prepping while going into the bush. And all I really did was, well, this is what I would eat normally, and I ate half of it. That was it. And because we were working in like dogs in the carpentry in the bush, I got pretty shredded. I had no idea what I was doing. I was making buckwheat pancakes at night time before I went to bed, and all this stuff, and eating it was most probably totally opposite to what now, where you're eating high protein, and low carbohydrates.
Yeah.
I would have been eating high carbohydrates, low protein.
Yeah, but it still would have leveled out if you.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was funny, but I got into really good condition.
Yeah.
I wasn't big, obviously.
Yeah.
I was one of
How much did you weigh?
I reckon I weighed about 58 kilos.
Jesus.
59. It would have been under 60 kilos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
based on those photos that I still look at, there's no way.
Fair. Well, I would like to know, if you could go back in time, as you are now, and actually could see yourself as that age, would you prep you? Or would you let you suffer?
I don't know. It was good fun back in those days. It was so totally different to competing nowadays.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's all about, you got to have a coach, and it's all about social media and everything. Like I keep saying, there was no internet back then.
Yeah.
Even getting the basic information was virtually impossible.
Yeah, it was like getting porn.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so that was it. And like I said, the morning show was run as a prejudging. You didn't do your routine at all. This was back in the days you had to do a routine. So in the morning, you did your routine. So you did round 1, which was symmetry, all your compulsories, and then you did your routine. The whole auditorium was empty. There was hardly nobody there. Then you come back at 7 o'clock for the night show, and the place is packed. Packed. And everyone was all dressed up. It was like a big event. And all you did at the night show then was, every division, you just did your routine.
Yeah.
So in the prejudging, the decision that all be made, everyone knew, the judges knew at night who's won and everything. And you just, it's just an entertainment part.
Yeah,
it was grocery presentation and entertainment side.
It was the show part of the bodybuilding show. So
the
show was catered specifically for the audience. It wasn't catered towards the competitors.
No, exactly right.
Which has changed a lot these days as well. Yeah. So now it's catered a lot towards the competitors, and now the people's like, oh well, my so and so's on in 6 hours from now, so I have to wait around.
That's right. Because the shows are so big these days, it has to be done that way. And back in those days, like we had 19 in my division, the rest of the show most probably had 19 all up as well. So there was maybe 36, 40 competitors.
Yeah.
That's what bodybuilding was like in those days.
Okay.
But I finished 8th. My good mate at the time, Paul Anderton, who's still around.
Yeah, I know Paul.
Still training.
Still shredded.
He finished 7th.
7th?
He was 7th.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, who won that show?
Well, the show was won... the top 3 all went on to win an Australian title.
Okay then.
The top 2 went on to win multiple Australian titles. Mike Buda came second. The guy who won, I can see him. He was just so big, and he went on to win the Australian title at least twice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. The guy who came third, Colin, I can remember him, Colin McLean, he won then the novice at the Nationals. Whereas Mike and this other guy went into the Opens, and I think they came first and second.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, for me to finish in, and then pretty well 4th, 5th, 6th, they were all like good big guys.
So would you say the fitness industry has changed a lot since when you had started to now? And how has it changed? The best way to put it, like we said, it's gone a lot more towards social media and that sort of stuff. But has it changed in any other ways for you? Like, can you see from a perspective of like an owner's perspective?
Well, it has changed, definitely. Is it for the good? I don't know. You know, everyone who competes now and he sees how it is now, they don't. I think back in those days it was a lot more simpler. You know, you competed because you wanted to compete.
Yeah.
And like I've got nothing from that show when I finished 8th. You didn't get a participation medal. You were lucky to get a hey, thanks for coming.
Thank bye.
Yeah.
It's just yeah,
it really was. That's what it was like. All the accolades went to the top 3, and what you did, you copped it on the chin, and you went back to the gym.
Yeah,
and started training again. And tried again. Whereas these days, if you don't win, you see so many people. They're on social media in 30 seconds while they're at the venue, rubbishing the judges and everything else.
Yeah.
And in those days, well, you couldn't do that.
No. You did. You could have, but you would have got your head kicked in.
Yeah, but
you went up to a judge that probably that time.
If any rubbishing you did was just to your mates.
Yeah.
And it ended there. It didn't go all over social media and the world and the country like it does now. So I think in that respect, I think it was better.
Yeah.
Back in those days,
It was more dignified in a way.
Well, yeah, it was more dignified, but it was also you competed because you just wanted to compete. And you wanted to win.
Yeah.
You
didn't want to...
I came back, and went back to the gym the next day and started training. And I spoke to these guys at the gym. I'm there, how come these guys are so big? And this is how naive I was. I had no idea about steroids or drugs or anything. I thought it was just, you just training. But in those days, there wasn't a lot of drugs. It's not like now. That's the other difference.
Yeah, now. I would have noticed.
Drugs. Everyone's on drugs. Even if you don't compete, there's guys on drugs. Back in those days, you were on drugs only if you competed, and only if you were half decent.
Yeah.
And getting them was a nightmare. You really had to have good contacts, which then filtered through to other people, and who would then assess you to see if you're worthy of doing business. It was hard work, but I had no idea that people use steroids.
Yeah, so you had to have prerequisites to get anabolics.
Yeah,
back in the 80s.
But it really was. Yeah. You went to someone, I'm going to use anabolics. All right, well, I'll tell a guy that I know who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, and I'll get back to you. Yeah. And that might take 3 months.
Yeah. Oh no, you look like shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
Pass it on.
Yeah, but there was no natural shows. There was no such thing as natural bodybuilding. Now, it was just bodybuilding. It was pretty well. There was NABBA. NABBA ran a show, and IFBB ran a show, and that was it. There was nothing else.
Yeah, it was very small. It was very small, very underground. Like you said before.
It was incredibly underground. Nowhere near as, and even nowadays, bodybuilding is still a bit of an underground sport, but it is more mainstream. More people in the street will know about it, and there's muscular physiques everywhere. But back in those days, again 86, 87. If you had a muscular physique, you were a freak, and people would just look at you weirdly.
Pointing and
it was. It was a totally different era, but it was good fun.
Oh, that's good then. You were saying before that you were a carpenter up to like 22, 23, that age when you started, or what made you change to no? I want to work in the fitness industry. Okay, I want to turn my passion to something that I want to do for a living. How'd that come along?
Oh, well, that pretty well just came along. I was a carpenter. After the 87, I competed for a few years, and I just kept working, trying to get bigger. Still loved training. So I was a carpenter. I ended up having my own business.
Yep.
So I had builders with me, and in the end, because I used to work for a country builder, we were in the country a lot. My wife Julie had just gotten pregnant with Kia.
Yep.
So she was on her own a lot while I was going away, and I was just getting sick and tired of being away. And I've got a family, not seeing my family, and I thought, wow, I'd like to settle down and get out of the building game and maybe do something in the fitness industry.
So primarily what drove your decision is you wanted to spend more time with your family. So
yeah.
Okay, that's very...
Yeah, which is really ironical because, as I'll get to it later, that didn't work at all. But what happened was that then I thought, I spoke to Julie and I said, well, I really want to do something in the fitness industry. And I said, let's buy a gym. So that was my first goal, was to buy my own gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this would have been back in maybe 1994. So obviously since 1987, my first comp, right up until 1994, I was still working as a carpenter and just training. I competed randomly every year or every couple of years. So then about 1994, I reckon it was, we went on a short family holiday, and I had looked in business journals and found a few gyms for sale in South Australia. They were all in the country. They weren't in Adelaide. So there was one at Millicent, I think there was one in Mount Gambier, and one in Mildura.
Yeah.
And so we thought we'll do a little road trip in our caravan. By this time I had a second child, Ari, who was only barely 1.
Yeah.
Kia would have been 2 or 3. So we went on this little caravan trip to see these gyms, and we went to Millicent, and the gym was just terrible.
Yep.
It was basically like a YMCA place.
Yeah.
The one in Mount Gambier, I can't even remember if we found it. And we just kept going on holiday. Then we went to the one in Mildura, which was a really nice gym. It was actually a good gym.
Yeah.
And I thought, I could handle this. And
Yeah.
Mildura is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
And how good would we to settle here and be a gym owner? And then when I found the price, there's no way I could afford it.
What was the price?
I can't even remember now, but it was. I think it was about $160,000, which doesn't sound like not a lot then.
Yeah.
Now, but back then
it would work. Because houses were still like 150.
Well, my first house I bought was like $125,000.
Yeah. So you're buying a house and then some.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So, and I didn't have enough collateral in my business, equity in my house to buy that business.
Yep.
So that fell through. We came back to Adelaide, and I just went back to work as a chippy, thinking, well, I can't get a gym.
Yeah.
Then I saw an ad for a supplement store for sale.
Yeah. And back then, supplements wouldn't have been very...
No!
It would have been very... That would have been even more low-key than bodybuilding in total, but... So that would have been a massive risk if you just see it like, okay, well... What were you using? Like, have you been in a supplement store before prior?
Well, I used to shop at this supplement store.
Oh, okay
that
then.
was for sale.
Yeah.
And I'd buy my Joe Weider's protein powder.
Yeah.
Which mixed like chalk. And
I've heard stories.
Tasted like chalk. I mean, back then the supplements really you would use was a protein powder, liver tablets, which are basically amino acids.
Yeah.
But they were called liver tablets, and they were from desiccated liver, which is really high in all your essential amino acids. So they were amino acids. But you take the lid off this amino acid
like a glass bottle.
Oh yeah, you know, a really big jar bottle that you'd get like 500 tablets for $25. You know, you just chomp on those all day. You know, and if you open the lid off, the whole room would stink of this horrible
liver.
Yeah. So it was basically liver and some amino acids.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. But this supplement store to me was like a candy store. You know, there'd be all these different colour containers and all this, and then I saw the ad for it, and I went and saw the guy. The price was in our budget.
Yep.
And I told Julie, let's do it. So I quit my job as a chippy and I bought this supplement store, Australian Muscle. It was called Australian Muscle then.
Yeah. And
I kept the name, and it was pretty well. There was only 2 supplement stores back then, Australian Muscle, and there was another one in Sydney.
So that's how Australian Muscle started.
How I started with Australian Muscle, but that shop had already been running for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would make it probably one of the oldest, probably not the oldest
It
supplement.
would be the oldest supplement store in the country now, because the one that was running in Sydney at that time
Yeah.
closed
Yeah.
ages ago.
So you've
Yeah.
been in business 23, it would have been 23 years
It's coming up to 23 years this year
this year.
that
So
I
20
bought Australian Muscle.
23 years. How much did that impact your life? Like, highs and lows. A lot of people now think, I'm going to start a business. I'm going to be rolling in funds, in money in the first 3 weeks.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that's what people these days think, that I'm going to start a business and I'm going to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
So this business, when I bought this guy, when you buy a business, if you buy an existing business, the books are always going to be a little bit cooked.
Yeah.
They're always going to make the books look a little bit more favourable.
I'd ask, why are you selling this business first?
And generally, the rule of the thumb is that you would most probably take 15 to 20% off those figures to allow for cookbooks. And I sort of did that, and I thought, this is still going to be but these books were really cooked.
They're like 30.
Yeah, I don't know. They were like pretty well my first week at the shop, and I thought, hang on, this isn't doing nowhere near these numbers that this guy said that was doing.
Fair enough. What was he saying he was doing per week?
I think he was saying back then that he was doing about $5,500 a week.
So if you put inflation,
and on my first week, I think I turned over $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like something's not right here.
Yeah.
Something definitely is not right. Under 50% of what I should be getting.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, we had some really tough time. It ended up being really tough. Like I had to borrow to buy this business, obviously.
Yeah.
And my brother actually helped me borrow. He came in as a guarantor so that I could get the loan.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have got the loan. So he helped me get the money, but the numbers were so low that in the end we struggled. I had established myself pretty well with my carpentry business, but after a year or so, all our savings had gone. We had to throw them into the business.
Yeah.
We had 2 relatively new cars that we had to sell and buy like $500 shit boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I drove to work in this shitbox Datsun 180B.
That's my mum's first car. It blew up.
Yeah. Well, mine ended up blowing up.
Yeah.
About a year later. And then I had to buy my wife this old Sigma. So it was pretty demoralising. And there was a couple of times we were at the back of the shop. Kids were playing in the backyard at the shop, because the shop had like a big backyard.
Yeah.
And we were thinking, what are we going to do? We're going to lose our house or what? And we were talking with Julie that she's going to have to go back to work and everything else. So it was hard. It was those first 3-4 years was really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
So
we really couldn't afford nothing except just to keep our house and the business running.
So you were probably ordering stock once every couple of weeks or once a week, or like with the turnover, like how you managed to
Well, in the end, you're just sort of juggling bills, which is what business is, even these days. Business is all about juggling bills and paying off the one that needs priority and putting that one on hold, and next time paying that one as a priority. So, but that's what you did, and we managed to. The business where I had, after about 2 weeks, I realised that it's in the wrong position. It's paying way too much rent.
Where was it located?
It was on Unley Road.
Unley Road, so that would be... Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was a big shop. Now, the reason this guy who I bought it off was using it as a wholesaling business as well, so he needed a big area. But I realised after 2 weeks that I don't need that area.
Yeah.
And I had signed a 3-year lease when I bought the business.
So
I was stuck there for 3 years. And as soon as the lease ran out, that's when we moved it to the original position where it is still now on Goodwood Road at Millsborough,
which is it's still a great little area. It's a small shop, but
it's actually a better shop than where it was. Better parking and everything, and the lease was 1/3 of what I paid.
Yeah,
and that difference was a massive impact straight away.
Yeah, you would have felt that.
Yeah, the saving that I was making on my lease was my wage.
So you were paying yourself, obviously, and then
well, I didn't pay myself for a long time until my savings ran out.
Yeah. And then you started paying yourself.
then you had to start paying yourself something, and it was just enough that Julie could buy groceries and pay the bills
Yeah.
and pay my mortgage.
So-
We had no savings
Yeah.
whatsoever for years and years and years. So it's always, it is about that grind. You just, I could have given up, and we nearly did.
Yeah.
And I thought, if we make it to when the lease runs out and we move it into a smaller place with less overheads, we can make this work.
Yeah.
And bingo.
Yeah. So that's when I started to kick off from there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That was like, it was the turnaround in the business.
It would have been like the complete 180. So it went from being like being in debt to having some sort of
Yeah, look, it
relief.
still took me a long time to get out of all my debt. A
Yeah.
long time. But we were able to draw a wage, we were able to pay all our creditors on time,
Yep.
and we were able to pay all our bills
That's good.
on time.
Cool.
So, I mean, in any business, it's about sacrifice.
Well, I was talking about stock before, and what you would get is, we've discussed personally, you and I, about creatine, of how at the moment now it is probably the most cheapest products around, like a kilo for $30.
I'm just going to stop you here and let everyone know that at my feet is a dog,
Yeah, and he
and
farted.
he's dropped his guts
Yeah,
big time.
I know. I've been ignoring it. I've been trying to ignore it.
I can't. Whew.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
carry on.
So,
Creatine.
Yeah, creatine at the moment is cheap.
Yep.
We've discussed, when did creatine come out for you? Like when you first saw it?
All right. In 1995, pretty well the protein powder was all casein based.
Yep.
Or then just skim milk powder. That was it. And albumin. Egg
Yeah,
whites.
egg whites, which is now actually one of the most expensive products.
Yeah, yeah. So I can remember all these protein, Egg Pro 90 and all these, it was like 90% protein. It was just, but it was horrible. Like
Yeah.
you needed an industrial blender to mix these things, and they just tasted terrible.
Yeah.
So it was about 95, towards the end of 95, this revolutionary new protein, whey protein, came out. So
Yeah.
whey protein concentrate came out first, and then it was most probably a couple of years later, WPI, or whey protein isolate,
Yeah.
came out. So that pretty well turned, again, the supplement industry around.
Mhm.
Protein powders all of a sudden started to mix a lot better,
Yeah.
and had some sort of decent taste.
Had a flavour.
Had a
It wasn't
flavour.
just-
They were still pretty crappy.
Yeah.
And if you notice now, if you get a protein powder and you put it into your shaker, you can shake the buggery out of it, and there might be a little bit of froth in it.
Yeah.
Back in those days, you put one scoop of protein powder into your shaker and you shook it, and bubbles would come out the top, and it would just froth up, because that's
Yeah.
what whey powder does.
Yeah.
If you have a look on the ingredients in a whey powder, one of the ingredients usually is soy lecithin.
Yep, which is an emulsifier.
That's been
Yeah.
put in there to stop frothing.
Yeah.
And that was then another innovation that came another year later. That
Mhm.
oh my god, a non-frothing protein shake. And it was really funny. If you put your whey powder into a blender and turn the blender on, well, it would just turn to froth.
Yeah, it'd just be all bubbles.
Yeah. Then you had to just put it down and let it sit there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes until all the bubbles. Yeah. So, and I think most probably in about 96, maybe end of 96. Then the next thing came out was creatine.
Mhm.
And that was like, oh my god, this is, and it was marketed like, just like Deca
Yeah.
and all this,
Deca, for
Creatine.
people who don't know, is a drug.
Yeah. So that came out, and I can remember the first jars I had of it, like 150 grams of creatine.
Yeah.
Was like $159.
$159
$159
for 150 grams, so $1 a gram.
Yeah, and they were then
creatine.
saying that load on creatine for 5 days
Yeah.
on 25 grams a day. So you'd go through this $150 bottle in 5 days.
Yeah.
On your loading phase, you had to buy 2.
Yeah. So people would be dropping $300, $400.
They would drop
just on
$300
creatine.
to buy 2 creatines, or they drop $150 and come back a week later
Yeah.
and get. I did another one now.
Wow.
So then they brought out creatine in a kilo, which was cheaper because it was 1,000 grams rather than 150 grams, but it was $349. And everyone thought, oh my God, how cheap is that?
Yeah, that is a saving. You are saving a fair
Well,
bit.
it was. Well, what's 150 grams for 150 bucks?
So that's about, you get about
It's about $1,000 a kilo?
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So that was it, And back then also one of the biggest supplements was the Cybergenics stack. Now, anybody who's listening to this who knows 1986, who was training around then, knows the Cybergenics stack.
And
you go Google that afterwards.
I will, Cybergenics stack.
And that was $299.
Yeah. And what did that stack include?
It was like, I can't even remember what was in them, but it was like 3 lots of tablets that you would have at bedtime, morning, and before training.
Most things are in tablet form then.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
I can't even remember what was in there. I really can't. I mean, if you Google, I'm sure it'll still come up. The annoying thing though was that this Cybergenics stack had a money-back guarantee.
Yeah.
They'd advertise in all the bodybuilding magazines, 4-page ads for this Cybergenics stack, and having a before and after photo. Before photo of a skinny guy and then this big pro bodybuilder. This is you,
Yeah.
And we sold shitloads of them. But the trouble is, they would have on there saying money-back guarantee. Not happy? Bring the unused portion back to your shop. And then people started bringing it back. I'd have to give back $300.
Yeah.
And that was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't buy it.
No, and it was like every second day someone bought one back.
Yeah, I'm not 400 pounds yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't like, it was a no unconditional money back guarantee return.
So it's like you didn't put on 10 kilos solid muscle.
So in the end, that caused the company to go broke.
Yeah, it would have.
And it would have most probably caused, that was another hard time. It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you got every second day someone coming in and say, I want my $300 back. Yeah, that hurt the business.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. We covered lowest points of your business, and obviously that part of your life. What were the highest points since owning Australian Muscle? What are some of the highest points that you've actually gone through?
There's a couple high points. One is when I opened my second store.
Yeah, and that would have been the one at Salisbury.
That's the one at Salisbury, and that's most probably now about 10 years ago, more than that. And I only opened that up because a customer of mine, Nick, who I got to know quite well in the store and through the bodybuilding circles. Nick, very successful property developer and a business owner himself. And Nick came into the store once and said, listen, Kim, I'm hearing rumours that a Victorian chain of stores is going to come to Adelaide, open a store in the northern suburbs. If you don't open a store now, they're going to do it. And I'm going, oh shit, I don't know if I'm ready. And he goes, I'll help you. I'll come in as your silent partner. I'll back you. And let's open this store to stop these people. So I said, no worries. So in the end, Nick and I drew up a really good partnership. He wanted nothing to do with running the business. He said, I don't know nothing about running this business. You do, but I'll help you set it up. I'll put in some cash. I'll be a silent partner. And when you are ready, you let me know and you can buy me out. So we opened up Salisbury, and by then, bodybuilding was growing, supplements were growing, so the store was actually quite successful. It was the only store again now in the northern suburbs of Adelaide, so it drew customers fairly quickly and started. Any business is hard for the first few months, but it only took about 6 months, and it was actually a profitable store. I put Carlos in there, Carlos Azevedo, as a manager, who's a well-known bodybuilder in Adelaide, and he did a terrific job. And I ran that store for a couple of years, and I went to Nick and I said, listen, I'm ready. I'm ready to buy you out. And Nick was ready too. He was one of these guys, he would invest in a business, sell it, move on, start another business. And I knew he was ready. He was ready, So we got together and had some lunch and some couple of bottles of wine and came up with a price that I thought was fair, and I bought Nick out. So I own the stores now outright.
Beautiful.
Moving on from there, then we opened up Holden Hill. Again, I did that on my own. Now, don't forget, at the beginning of all this, I wanted to run a gym. So really, that has always been my goal. And I always then thought, once I got Millswood going, and it was turned profitable. Salisbury going, it was profitable. Got Holden Hill going, that was profitable. And I thought, no, next step is a gym.
Yeah.
I want to get my gym. So I was training at a gym called Re-Energize.
Yes.
At Paraka, and it was very tiny. It was owned by a guy called Luke and his beautiful wife. He was a kickboxer, but he was struggling. Like it was a struggling gym.
Yeah.
And even to the point where I was waiting for my membership to run out, and I was going to move somewhere else because it was just nothing was even being fixed or replaced.
Yeah.
You could see, you know, it was one of those things where you could see this place is
You can see the
it's
line.
dying.
Yeah.
So one day I was training at the gym, and Luke came up to me and said, "Listen, Kim, I've got a proposal for you." I went, "What?" And he's going, "You want to buy the gym?" And I thought, "Shit." I went home and I talked to Julie about it. Straight away I had ideas on how to make it better.
Yep.
Whatsoever, yeah. And I called my good mate Nick Jones.
Yep.
We all know Nick
We
Jones.
all know Nick Jones very well.
Who I hope we can interview him on one of these podcasts. I called Nick, and Nick flew to Adelaide to come and have a look at it. And I can remember we walked through the place, and we're walking through the gym, and Nick's just looking. He's not saying nothing. He's just looking at everything, you know. And he's just looking around, and then he turns around to me and he whispers, "You know, you want to buy this place?" You know?
That would be a little bit demoralising.
Well, and I did, and I sort of said, "No, yeah, I know, but look past this, Nick. What about if we do this, we do that?" You know, and Nick said, "Well, yeah, I think you can make it into a good gym, but you're going to have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
And the first thing to do is not to spend a lot of money on buying it."
Yeah.
Yeah. So we came up with an offer to the gym owner, which was really low. It was really low. It was embarrassingly low. I thought, well, there's no way they're going to accept that, but they did.
Well, there you go.
So I gave him the offer that afternoon. Nick left, and Luke said, "Yeah, I'll get back to you later on." You know, he looked at the offer and he goes, "Oh, geez, you know, well, I'll get back to you." You know, and by the time I drove home, I got a text message saying that, "Yeah, we'll take it."
There was no haggling. You just put a ballpark figure in.
Yeah,
That's easy.
yeah. So I walked into the house and I told Julie we bought a gym.
And that you must have been like giddy.
So
Like-
yeah, but then it started again. Like everything started again. You know, the worry, the money going. I had outlaid $100,000 in it, which was again everything I'd saved over the past 10 years with all my business, all my life savings, again, and reinstated my loan, business loan, to do the gym. But I knew that if I make this gym work, I would have to put that money.
Yeah, you have to.
And we knocked down walls. I got a manager, Sam Mussered, who again is fairly well known here in Adelaide. And straight away we knocked down walls. We made the gym bigger. We bought a whole bunch of second-hand equipment, with Nick Jones helped me source in Melbourne, like a gym that had gone broke, and I bought a whole bunch of equipment there. Put in brand new dumbbells, right up to 60 kilo dumbbells, two sets of dumbbells up to 30 kilos of everything, all Olympic bars, Olympic weights, brand new floors, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had to inject a lot of life into it to bring it back.
Yeah. And obviously being with Australian Muscle, and by the time I had this gym, we're talking 5 years ago now, so social media was in, so we were able to promote the gym on social media through our Australian Muscle pages. We gave it the same name, we called it Australian Muscle, but the gym, which is now up and running really well. So that was my major highlight. That was my original goal. I wanted a gym.
And 23
and it
years
took
later,
me, well, 23 years now we've had the gym. So it took me 18 years to get my gym.
So you didn't give up really. You always had it at the back
No,
of your mind.
I was always there. It was always there in the back of my mind that I'm gonna have this gym eventually. One day I'm gonna get this gym, and 18 years later I got it. But like I said, in any business, you know, like I had thrown all my savings into it. I had to get a loan, everything in there. So I started from scratch. Everything started from scratch.
You took a risk.
Well, it was, and pretty well for the first 3 years, the gym ran at a massive loss.
Yeah.
You know, because the membership base wasn't there to cover everything that I put in there. So it ran at a loss, and it wasn't until we went 24/7 that the gym.
Yeah, kicked up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's another part. My son is my partner. I want to mention that Ari came into partnership with me on this gym, so he threw in all his life savings. So at the time he was working for me, running my shop, and he turned around and said, "Listen, I can inject a little bit, and I'm there. Every little bit helps, and I'll put you in as a 50-50 partner."
Yeah.
So he gave me all his life savings, which wasn't a lot, which you could imagine for someone who's only like just out of his teenage years. Yeah. So, and we said at the beginning that we're not going to go 24/7. We're going to be a manned gym.
But you can't. You'll die.
Running a gym that starts at 6 a.m. and closes at 9 a.m., 9 p.m. Takes a lot out of you.
Yeah. It is.
So, going back to right beginning, you mentioned that I mentioned that I wanted to quit carpentry to spend more time with my family.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't.
You ended up.
And I really didn't until we went 24/7
Yeah.
2 years ago, that I was able to get back. So regrets?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't spend time with my kids growing up.
Yeah.
Because I was at the shop. I couldn't afford anyone for years. I had to be at the shop 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Then when we bought the gym, I had to be at the shop till 9 p.m. after the shop. And me and Ari used to alternate. Ari would come home from the shop and he would then stay until 9 p.m. You know? So there's no glamour. And, you know, people think, you know, and they look at, it really annoys me these days how people look at business owners as some sort of evil people.
No.
You know?
No.
I did this just to hopefully get a better life for my family and my kids.
Yeah.
And in the end, I would have been 10 times better staying on the tools. I was earning 5-6 times more money as a carpenter.
Yeah. But at the end of it, you just wanted to spend time with your family.
Yeah, and I didn't like it in the end.
Yeah. Well, you got to do something you like.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing.
So looking back on it that way, that if I had to go back, would I do it again? I would, but of course I'd do things differently because I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I'd learned about leases and looking into how long leases run and how much they cost and things like that.
Reading fine print.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, so so in the end, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, there is another part as well, which is we haven't touched on the bodybuilding.
No, we haven't touched on anything.
So the bodybuilding comps came in as well. You know,
you were running the ICA. You were running IMBA at that stage.
INBA back then, which had just changed their name from ANBF. It was the Australian Natural Bodybuilding Federation, run by Wayne McDonald. So this was the first natural shows that started coming into play. And this is back in 2000.
Yeah.
So the year 2000, when the Millennium Bug was meant to destroy everything.
Everything's supposed to destroy everything.
Yeah.
There's a new one next week, I'm sure of it. But yeah.
That was, how old were you back in 2000?
I was 9. Oh, I remember I was in
Can you remember the Millennium Bug?
Like
they were predicting that aeroplanes are going to fall out of the sky because the computers will reset to like 1901.
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was. I was in Townsville. I was in the Koala Inn, in town, far north Queensland. I remember looking at this big neon pink koala, thinking that's going to explode at midnight. That's what I remember. But I was
It was big news for those of you who can remember back, and everyone thought your computers are going to fall apart, nothing's going to work, so everyone is backing their computers up. And back in those days, computers had like 250 mega RAM, and they were just shit dinosaurs, you know. And I stayed up till midnight.
Yeah, so did I.
And I watched the computer clock roll over from 11:59 p.m. to 12 a.m. and nothing happened.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit.
Nothing happened. And this is how paranoid he was back then. I went outside to see if the lights are on.
Yeah, and there were.
Street lights were on and nothing happened and life went on.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Anyway, that was a Millennium Bug. We strayed.
Yeah.
But I was one day in the shop back in 2000 and Wayne McDonald from Melbourne walked in, introduced himself and said, "You want to run natural bodybuilding in South Australia?"
So by that time, you already like developed, like you've established yourself as someone in the industry.
Yeah,
obviously.
well, again, go back a couple of steps. After my competing, I stopped competing for a while, and I actually joined the committee that ran SABA, the South Australian Bodybuilding Association.
Okay, so you're on the committee.
So there was a committee of people, about 6 or 7 people, who met once a month, and they organised the shows.
Yeah.
So I joined that. I also then became an accredited judge with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I did the judging courses, everything. So I pretty well knew how to run a show.
Yeah.
And I would go to these committee meetings and I would say, oh, hang on, I think we should do it this way. And the senior committee members were all like 50-year-old people that have been running these shows since 1961.
Yeah.
And they said, no changes, you know. And I'm going, what am I doing here if nothing is being implemented or even taken into consideration? So I was getting a bit disheartened. And Wayne came in and said, you want to run natural bodybuilding in South Australia? And I said, yep.
Didn't even think about it.
No.
Straight away.
No. Pretty well. Julie came to this meeting with me and we'd already said that, you know, if that's what he offers with me, let's do this for a couple of years, you know.
Yeah.
Because I had ideas on how to run shows and I knew how to run a show, but I had ideas to implement my own bits into it.
Yep.
So that's when the IMBA South Australia was born, back in 2000. And I'm still running it.
Yeah, it's 18 years later.
Yeah, so this is the 19th year of me running a contest.
Yeah.
And then it developed from 1 show a year to 2 shows a year, which it does now.
So it's safe to say that you know how to run a show, how it should be run, how it should be implemented.
Well, I always run my shows with the idea, the thought in my head that if I was a competitor, would I like this?
Yeah.
Everything that I do.
Yeah.
If I was a competitor, would I like this? If I was a competitor, would I like this? No, well, don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's how I did, you know. And my first show in 2000 was the South Australian titles, and I had 15 competitors. I had 15 competitors, and fairly good turnout.
Yeah.
People came to see the show. I think they all came to see if I could run a show.
Yeah.
I had this comedian that was an MC. I can't even remember his name because I thought, who am I going to get to MC? I thought, well, hey, I had this comedian guy. He was like a local comedian who played in a comedy club.
Yeah.
He rocked up drunk.
That would have been a great show. I would have gone.
But he rocked up drunk, and of course, he just did the stereotypical bodybuilding jokes all night, which everyone as bodybuilders have heard.
Yeah.
So it was just crickets chirping every time he did it. He even did when there was a pose down, took my shirt off and went in amongst them, and he had this big beer gut. So in a way, he was entertaining, but he also did a terrible job.
Yeah, well.
And after the show, we had agreed on a price, and I gave him half and told him to fuck off.
Oh, the exact same thing. So that would have been actually a pretty good time, like to see that.
I was really disappointed because there was only 15 competitors.
Yeah.
And in the audience, there was heaps of guys who were competitors, and you know, I'm walking around at intermission and saying, why aren't you competing? They said, I want to see what sort of job you're doing, but I'll be back next year.
Yeah.
And the next year I had 35 competitors, so I doubled it.
Yeah.
Which was a really good number. Bear in mind again, there was no fitness, bikini, sport mod. It was just bodybuilding.
Yeah.
That was it. And only maybe 6 men's classes, 4 women's classes.
And now it's 16 men's classes.
Well, more than that. At the
32.
ICN this year, we've got 47 classes.
47 classes.
Yeah. So the shows have evolved, and looking back on evolution, back over all those years, that you know, there were so many things, and this is where you must never dismiss anything, and I've learnt that. You know, like for instance, in the supplement store, pre-workouts came out, and I thought, who's going to buy those?
That's never going to take off.
That's never going to take off. Now pre-workouts are the number one selling supplement.
It's probably 70% of the day.
Pretty well. Yeah. It's the number one supplement that you sell.
Yeah.
When it came to training, I've seen personal training develop.
Yep.
When personal training came in, I thought, who the hell's going to want to do that? You just go to the gym and train. Why do you want a personal trainer? Now, multi-million-dollar industry.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Competition coaching. I'd go, why the hell do you want to pay someone to prep you for a comp? I did it myself and got shredded.
Yeah.
I've used comp prep coaches and training coaches, and I got one now.
Yeah.
You know? So never say never.
Yeah.
Same with Sport Model came out. And I thought, who's going to want to enter that? The first time I put Sport Model on, I had 14 girls. And I thought, holy crap. You know, then they split it into bikini. And I thought, who's going to run that?
And that's where you got to limit.
And now bikini is huge.
Yeah.
You know?
What's the next one?
Yeah.
After bikini,
So,
what can you do?
You know, that's one thing I've learned is never open your mind up to anything new.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you might look at it negatively, but it might make a huge impact on you later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that has, definitely.
Yeah, and that's how it's just grown now.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding has created so many side things as well.
Yeah.
You know, look, you've got comp prep coaches.
Yep.
You've got bikini creators. You've got wing creators. You know, you've got tanning companies.
Yeah, you've got makeup companies.
You've got makeup companies and tanning companies who do nothing but competitions all year round because there's so many comps you can make a full-time business out of it.
The people who make the posing trunks.
Exactly right.
So
this industry has spawned other industries around it. You know, and people turn around and say it's a bad thing. Well, it's not. It's a good thing. You know, I get so many times people who say, "Oh, the good old days were." No, the good old days were good old days. They're old days.
Yeah.
It's now this day,
Good
and this is what happens. This is what is the go. You know, the only thing I don't like about bodybuilding is, like I said, the first show I went to, I don't think I even got a thank you or a pat on the back.
Now people are expecting to get.
I get people come up to me and say, "If I enter your contest, Kim, what am I going to get?" And I'm like, "What do you mean you're going to? What am I going to? What are you going to give me?" You know, the competitor expects something for just entering.
Yeah,
it's a competition.
Yeah.
You're going there to compete against other people.
You wouldn't go for a Guinness World Record and say, "If I go for this, would you give me the medal?"
That being said, I think I'm most probably one of the most generous promoters in the country. Like, you know, I do give the competitors a lot, and I'm thankful for my sponsors. All my supplement companies, we create great competitor goodie bags so they get samples.
Yep.
I spend a lot of money on a nice jersey or a t-shirt or something that they can remember the show. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, I still enjoy running the shows. The gym is awesome. Like, I went to the gym this morning.
Yeah.
At 8 o'clock because we had a mural painted on the wall that finished around midnight.
It looks
awesome. Danny, who painted the mural, didn't send me a picture. He goes, "No, you're going to have to go see it."
Yeah.
So I woke up this morning. I did my 12-kilometre walk.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I drove to the gym 100 miles an hour to see this mural.
Yeah.
And then I just sat there. There was nobody in the gym. And I sat there and I thought, wow, how thankful I am for everything that I've been able to create. It's been awesome.
If you put it down as something like symbolic, that mural is on your wall right now is based behind years of sacrifice, of hard work, of dedication.
Well, the same mural is tattooed on my arm.
Yeah.
You know, so it's my reminder to me of all the hard work that I've done. And what's great now is that, I might have, sacrificed some time with my children, which I really regret, but my son is my number 2 now.
Yeah.
And he runs pretty well, Without him, the business would really struggle. So he does so much. So he's involved in my business.
Yeah.
My daughter's competed in my shows.
Yeah.
So it really is. And my wife runs the shows with me.
She's made the sashes for your shows.
Yeah. So she makes stuff for the show. She runs the door. So it's a real family thing. So it's good fun.
Oh,
and I did put up a post this morning that life it's good now.
Yeah. Yeah. After years and years and years, it's good now.
I mightn't be driving around in a Merc or an Audi, but I don't care. I like my Ute.
No, the Ute has, I don't know, some sort of little power to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask, I couldn't see you driving like a BMW or a Mercedes. I can't see it. Now, before we finish off, I do want to ask about some funny moments that you've seen. Obviously, you would have seen a lot going through the AMBF, IMBA, ICN, all the shops, all like your promoting you've done. What are some funny standout moments that, like, to yourself, that is, when you think about it, goes, oh, fuck, I can't believe that actually happened?
Oh, I've had a couple. The funniest thing that happened in the shop was this was after we moved from Unley Road to Millswood, and everything was going really good. And back in those days, part of Australian Muscle was a fair bit of clothing. Like I used to sell a lot of clothing. I don't know if you can remember the Happy Pants.
Yeah.
The lycra striped spandex shorts were fairly popular back then as well, especially with the guys with big quads.
Yeah.
You'd wear these spandex shorts. So one day I was in the shop, and there was a couple of guys in the shop too, and we're just chatting away. And this guy walks in, and as soon as he walked in, I thought, he's a bit weird, But he walked in, and he goes, "Oh, you've got those spandex shorts?" And I'm there, yeah, here we go, So he's asking, "Oh, what size do you reckon I'm there?" "Well, here's the change room. Take a couple of sizes in, and see what you think."
Yeah.
So this guy went in, and me and the rest of the guys were just chatting away, and all of a sudden he comes out in nothing but these shorts on. And it looks like he's got like a cucumber that runs down the inside of his leg right to his knee. And walks around in front of us and says, "Oh, what do you think of these shorts, guys?" And we all just sort of take a step back and we sort of look at him a bit weird and go, "Yeah, mate, they're fine, and he goes, "No worries, I might try a few others, So he goes back into the change room, and he comes out of the change room stark naked. Now, it wasn't a cucumber that was in his shorts.
He was just heavily gifted.
It was like a baby's arm holding an apple. And he walks straight out and just starts rifling through the other side.
I guess if you've got it, flaunt it, he must know, like, he must have like...
And I turn around and I say, "Listen, mate, hey, fucking go back in the change room and put your clothes on. What are you doing, And he's going, "Mate, I'm just shopping here, it's alright." And I'm there, nah, fuck off. And I grabbed his clothes, and one of the other guys at the counter was a really big guy. I can't even remember his name anymore. And he walked up to this guy, and he goes, "Kim said fuck off," and he grabbed him, and he literally walked him out, picked him up and walked him out into the car park stark naked, and I threw all the clothes at him. And he's standing there with his baby's arm holding an apple, swinging, and then just walked off.
So it's safe to say that he
came in specifically to show off his dick. That's what he came in for.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you got to flaunt it, you might as well, but probably not that extent. If you had social media now, probably just every day would be a dick pic to someone random.
Another funny incident was once I was in the shop and I could hear sirens. Hear sirens all the time, getting closer and closer. And then they got really loud, like incredibly loud, and this police car came into the car park with sirens blaring. 2 guys ran out of it, Star Force guys, all in like battle gear, like with their fucking helmets on and everything, and run into the shop, pick up 2 protein powders, pay for them, run back into their car, and take off with their sirens blaring down the road again. So they were on their way to some sort of job, but they had to get protein first.
Did they know what they wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So it's not like just looking.
Yeah, no, straight away he knew what he wanted, grabbed it, paid for it, and went back. And like they had like no shit, like the machine guns and shit hanging off them, and bulletproof vests and the whole thing, and the car's still running in the car park with 4 other guys in there, and then he took off and sirens blaring again.
That's actually pretty cool.
It was funny, all the neighbours, other shops came out because they thought something had happened in my shop. But no, he just needed a protein powder.
Yeah, fair enough.
So they're 2 of my sort of. Oh, look, there's all sorts of customer stories, but they're the 2 memorable ones. Yeah,
they definitely stick out in my memory the most.
Yeah, we had at the gym once. We had one guy who was just a dickhead, and he was one of these guys. As soon as he signed up, I thought, "You're a dickhead.
Yeah,
you're a knob." He just portrayed that about him, and in the end, he ended up being such a dickhead that if I'd see members come in, if they saw him there, they'd walk out.
Yeah.
And I ran after one member, and what's the matter? He said, I'm coming back when he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one day then, Sam found like there was spit on the floor. And we spoke to one of the other members and said this guy would just hock up a lurgy and spit on the floor. So his membership ran out, and he came. We knew that, alright, his membership's run out, we're going to have to tell him to, like, fuck off. We don't want you here. And Sam was petrified because this guy was actually a bikie dude.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I had to work at the shop, so I left Sam there to do the dirty work. But he recruited a couple of members who were really big dudes.
Yeah.
And had them here hang around. And she told this guy, you know, hey mate, no, it's all right. I think you're better off going somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he did. He went apeshit, Choppo.
Yeah.
And like threatened Sam, I'm going to kill you, rape your girlfriend and all this. And that's when these two other guys came up.
Yeah.
And pretty well escorted him out, him screaming profanities, saying he's going to rape everyone's wives and kill you all and all this, and kicked him out. So it was pretty nervous time for Sam, and I didn't even leave Ari at the shop for a little while after.
Yeah.
At the gym at 9 o'clock because I thought, what if this guy comes back?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he never came back.
Well, there you go.
And he came in the shop one day when I was at the shop.
Yeah.
At Holden Hill. Walked in.
Ah.
And it was a little bit awkward, and in the end he apologised.
Yeah.
And said that, yeah, look, I'd really like to come back. Can I? And he actually asked, can I come back? And I said, nah. No.
I think it's better.
Yeah, and he goes, no worries. And yeah, I haven't heard from him since.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You gotta tell me what it is later, so in case he comes back now, and I don't know.
Yeah.
This guy's oh, like, no.
Yeah. I've actually thought that. I'm there. How do I tell him that?
Yeah.
He might be in the system, and his photo might be in there still.
Oh, we'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Wow, that's been.
Look, I could ramble on for ages, but I think that sort of covers it. Of how I've gone involved in the industry, stayed in the industry.
Definitely.
What's my plans at the moment? Well, I really got no plans.
Yeah, a lot of people
just keep going.
Yeah.
Doing what I'm doing. The gym, obviously, I just want to constantly improve. People keep asking me about a gym on the other side of town.
Yeah, I've had a few people ask me as well. It's like, oh,
and I've never knocked that idea out, but not until I've got this gym.
Yeah.
How I want.
We have a goal number.
Yeah.
Membership wise.
And obviously, we still need, like any gym, you know, every month there's attrition where people don't sign up, but we're growing constantly, slowly going up. But I don't want to turn it into a gym with 1,000 members.
No.
I still want to train there. I want it to be exclusive. And if you want to come to see our gym, you'll see that it is different.
Yeah.
I don't like these, you know, Anytimes and Snaps. They all look the same.
Yeah.
It's like McDonald's.
Yeah.
You can go into an Anytime in Sydney, in Melbourne, and in Perth, and it looks the same.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like that in a gym. You know, you come into my gym and it's going to look different.
Yeah.
And if I opened another one, it would most probably look different to this one. I'd do something to set them apart a little bit because I think gyms should be unique and individualistic.
They need to have their own personality.
Yeah.
They don't have to be carbon copy from everything else.
No, and I think if you do that, it turns the members into sort of robots. I don't know, but that's the way I look at it. You know,
yeah, we've got a very good community of members at the moment, which I love. Like, everyone knows everyone. Even the new members that come in, it's like, oh, I've never seen him before. Like, I'll say hello. You know, that's what I also.
We got no dickheads at the moment.
No,
and everyone gets on. Everyone helps each other, and that's what I've always said. And I always said to you, a gym shouldn't have carpet on the floor.
No,
you know. Why would you put carpet on the floor?
Yeah.
People sweat and
people
drop drinks and shit and So we're an old school business. Even our shops still, you know, they're not
marble
modern
floors.
plastic fantastics or anything. Yeah. It's I like that old school. Bodybuilding is old school, and I maintain that through my businesses and through the gym.
Yeah. This has been a really good first one we've done. This is
I was actually worried it wasn't. How are we going to just? But it's been.
No, it's been good.
You actually seem like being interested.
I actually have been, like, personally. Like, if I was listening, I would keep listening. Yeah. But I think that's all the time.
I think that we've gone over an hour.
We have.
And I think that's more than enough that people will listen to someone without getting bored.
Exactly. We have to find other people to not get bored.
And just in case Arnie here drops his guts again, I'd really like to get out of the room.
Yeah, same here.
Well, so that being said, thanks, Adrian.
No, I want to thank you first, Kimmo, because, you know, for actually sitting down for an hour and actually telling me what you've gone through to me. It's actually, you know, it's a bit breath of fresh air for myself, because I don't see you as, you know, boss. I see you as mate. I see you as a friend. So it's good to know that.
It's good fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, that's it. And I think we will wrap it up there.
We'll wrap it up there.
So don't forget, everyone, share this podcast around. So this is our first exclusive just interview podcast. I'll just let people know that I've got a few interesting interviews lined up.
Yep.
That one being Kwame, David McAvelli from Riderwear.
Yep.
So I think both of these guys will have really good stories.
Yep. I'm pretty sure we've had a few little chats to Ben Worley.
Yeah. So, and anybody out there listening, if you know someone that you think we should talk to, let us know. And we'll see if we can tee up an interview.
Excellent. Well,
that's it.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to upvote it on Apple, I believe, and on SoundCloud. Don't forget to like. You can also subscribe. Add it to a playlist if you want your morning walks to go for 12.5 Ks. So you can listen to our silky soft voices for an hour and a half.
We'll try to do one I want to do one every month at least, but maybe even every 2 weeks.
Every 2-3 weeks will be good.
Yeah.
Be good.
Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
Thanks, listeners. That's it.
Right.
Catch you guys next time.